Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. I am Lawrence Presman. Teddy Covers is my co-host. You're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet. Adam Trigger, right off the bat, he's going to be joining us to discuss two baseball plays. The Cardinals and the Tigers, the Blue Jays and the Royals. Ross Benjamin making his second appearance ever on the show. He's got a bet for us on the Heat and Celtics game and a MLB prop bet in Tokyo. Brandon at the end of the show with two baseball plays. Teddy Covers, what's on tap in your big game breakdown?
Big game breakdown. We're going to talk Celtics and Heat game number 5. And of course, in What Bettors Learned, we'll touch on the old side versus total dilemma. Worked in my favor last night. We'll explain why. Lawrence?
And I got the penalty box segment at the end of the show. Let's get to it. Adam Trigger joining us. It's Wednesday. Like always, you're first up. What's going on, my friend?
Not much. Just grinding it out on a daily basis now. It's just baseball for me. MLB, KBO. I've been doing minor league baseball, which is the best of the three. It's just too bad you can't get more down on these games. That's the easiest market to beat, in my opinion. But if you're interested in that, I'm posting it all for free on my Wager Talk page. So Wager Talk free picks page, if you want the minor league baseball plays. Those are just going to be free on a daily basis. I think we've hit 6 of the last 7. So keep an eye on my page for those. Be free all season.
WT.buzz/AT, Adam Trigger's homepage at WagerTalk.com. Adam, let's start with some MLB early start action. This one, first pitch is what? Just about an hour away from now. The Cardinals and the Tigers, basically a pick 'em price for this ballgame. St. Louis is short road chalk. Let's call it -110 for the Cards. Total sitting at 9. What do you want to do with Detroit and St. Louis?
Yeah, so you're going to get a free client play here because I decided less than an hour ago that I was going to throw this on the client card, 4% play. This would have been my 5% play on Monday, the fate of Kenta Maeda. Unfortunately, the game got rained out, and then everything got shuffled up, so Maeda got moved to Wednesday. But there's still enough reason for me to want to play against him here, where I could get to the window with this. So, I think Kenta Maeda is kind of cooked at this point. Like, he's someone I'm looking to play against. I've had success playing against already. I think 5 shutout innings against the Rays maybe have him a little bit overstated coming into this start because the start to the season he had was terrible. Opponent OPS is 884. It's one of the highest marks in the American League. Only 3 pitchers in the league have allowed more home runs than him to this point. So he's a guy I'm okay playing against, and I'm going to take a shot here. Michaelis is not my favorite, but he's better in my opinion. If I had to pick one of the 2 starters, it'd be him. He either has it or he doesn't, it seems like. And I think that the Cardinals are probably more likely to go to the bullpen sooner. So one thing we are getting, in play here now, as opposed to Monday, was the fact that we're coming off of a doubleheader. And the Tigers used Chafin, Foley, Miller, Faedo, and Lang over the course of their 2 games yesterday. I think they might be more inclined to keep Maeda out there longer, which, again, is just great. And for me, that's the basis of my bet mostly is trying to beat him. So, I'll take that all day. Both of these bullpens are very good, like top 10 bullpens on both sides. But I think the Tigers are the more likely team to regress in that area. We maybe started to see that yesterday. They blew a save in the first game of the doubleheader. And the Cardinals, the underlying metrics in the bullpen are slightly better. So we've heard a lot, like if you just follow the media, the Tigers come from behind wins, their bullpen's got a lot of love, but the Cardinals bullpen is as good, if not better. I don't think that's entirely baked into the line here. So, you had a 4-for-5 game out of Paul Goldschmidt yesterday in game 2, which is huge because really the Cardinals have gotten to this point without Goldie, Arenado, Nootbaar missed some time early. They really haven't hit yet collectively. And, I think that could be something that kind of, gets the Cardinals going moving forward. You come off of a big day for Goldie. Maybe he carries it over here. It was just enough for me. So I jumped in. Cardinals, I think it's like -105 will be a client play for me this afternoon.
So St. Louis has been a perennial contender. And then last year they weren't, and they cost their backers a fortune. And this year, I can't look at St. Louis and say that, even with a little bit better play of late, I can't look at the Cards and say they're anything but a disappointment so far this season. Is St. Louis any good? Is this team better than a 500 team? Is there a reason that we're looking at because I look at the Tigers, the team's going to finish 500 in that range, maybe better. And they're pick them at home against a team that I think is inferior to them. So I'm not in a rush to lay with St. Louis here. What's your take on the Cardinals moving forward as a team?
So I don't love the Cardinals this year. Like last year, the Cardinals cost me a ton. Like that, I was totally wrong on them. I came in super high on them into the season. They just weren't very good. This year, I'm not dying to play the Cardinals, but I will fade the Tigers because, Teddy, I agree with you. I think the Tigers are probably a 500 team. I think the market prices the Tigers like they're going to win 90 games. I've been kind of saying that since the beginning of the year. They were one of the trendiest season win total over picks that there was. I need to see the Tigers sustain winning before I'm just going to kind of give them the 85-90 win range. I agree. I think they're more of a 500 team. So and Maeda, in my opinion, probably doesn't even really belong in this rotation. Like Matt Manning's a better starter right now than Kenta Maeda, in my opinion. So he's the one guy that I'm really kind of looking to fade and take my shots against. His one good start was against the Rays, a team I think is really bad. Like I am way down on the Rays this year. So I'm going to try to buy. I'm going to try to fade Maeda off of like a good start that I think was more of a result of the Rays lineup being a complete disaster right now. But I'm not as big on the Cardinals are going to be much more than a 500 team.
Adam Trigger joining us. Let's talk Toronto Blue Jays at Kansas City Royals. Chris Bassett coming off maybe his worst performance in a couple of years, 2.2 innings pitched, allowed, and this is offhand, 462 runs. Now he's minus 145, 130 against the KC Royals. How we betting this game?
Yeah, so I have some PTSD seeing Bassett here because I was on the Jays last week when he got just obliterated by the Dodgers. And admittedly, I think I was naive to think that he could work around Freeman, Ohtani, and Muncy in that lineup. That's one thing with Bassett. He's really gotten hit hard by left-handed hitting this year. And, I went into that Dodgers game. His splits are better at home, so he's at home here. That's something to point out. But I went in thinking he could sort of navigate that lineup, and he just couldn't. And it went off the rails pretty quickly. But I do think he bounces back. Again, his splits at home have been solid, like if in the history of his time in a Blue Jays uniform. And the other thing here is the Royals don't have those left-handed bats like the Dodgers did. Most of the Royals, like top hitters, hit from the right side. The big lefty bats in that Royals lineup right now, Pasquantino, Melendez, have struggled this year. So I think this is a far more favorable matchup for Bassett. Earlier in this week on WagerTalk programming, I said the Blue Jays would win this series. I still feel that way. This being the rubber match here. Jays got the first one. The Royals won last night. The series has been extremely competitive. Even if you go back to last week, the Royals have won 4 of 6, but every single game has been close. And I think because of that, you're getting a slight discount on the Jays at home here in the minus 120 to minus 130 range. I think I would probably make this more like minus 130 to minus 140. Lugo for the Royals is a guy that I do like, but I don't think he's going to kind of hold a sub-2 ERA and a 1.11 whip this year. He's gotten off to a phenomenal start, but I do think there's going to be some regression there. And the Jays, in my opinion, have still yet to hit to their potential. Something I think they showed flashes of doing on Monday with 12 hits and 6 runs, and I think they can still do going forward. Great stat with the Jays. When they score 5 or more runs this year, they're 11-1. When they lead after the 6th inning, they're 13-1. I think they can win the early portion of this game. And if they get to the later portion with the lead, they have all the top bullpen arms right there. I think it's a good spot for the Jays to bounce back from the loss yesterday, get the win, and maybe get to Lugo, who's probably got a little regression coming for him sooner than later.
So on April 6th, the Jays lost to the Yankees 9-8. That was April 6th. It's May, and Toronto hasn't scored more than 6 runs in a game since. You talked about their offense hasn't woken up yet and how well they've done scoring 5 runs or more. But when we look at this lineup right now, they haven't hit for weeks. They haven't hit again. They played 6 games against Kansas City. They haven't really hit the Royals pitching hard in any of them. Do you worry at all about the Blue Jays' lack of offensive potency against a pitcher in Lugo who may be primed for some regression, but who's also been pretty darn good so far this season?
So I guess that like maybe long term, if the Jays because I'm pretty high on the Jays as it pertains to the entire season, I would maybe be a little bit concerned if they get to let's say the end of May and they're still not hitting. But this is a team. They've got Aurelvis Martinez down at AAA. They've shake up the lineup a little bit in the last couple of days. They gave Bichette a day off, Springer a day off. I thought that got them going on Monday. I think they just ran into Reagans last night, who's just a really good pitcher. But here, I'm willing to play out. The Jays are playing winning baseball. Springer made an awesome catch to save a game on Sunday. The bullpen is now intact. It wasn't earlier in the year. So in this spot, I just am willing to bet the Jays to get it done. If they can get the ball to their top bullpen arms, like I said, when they lead after the 6th inning this year, they're 13-1. I think if they can get to the late innings with a lead, they've probably got another win here.
Adam Trigger, everyone. And listen, keep in mind, we've been waiting for this Jays offense to break out for more than this season. Last year as well, stacked lineup, just couldn't get going. So I'm with Teddy on this one in the sense that I am worried about the Jays bats, but with Chris Bassett coming off such a terrible loss, I do think the Jays will get it done today as well. Okay, my brother, what do you got to promote?
So like I said, I gave you the daytime 4% play on the Cardinals. I'll have one up a little bit later, waiting to see a couple lineups and probably get that up around 2 or 3 o'clock. Back-to-back wins in KBO. I may have one there, so check my page. And like I said, if you like minor league baseball, I'm probably the only one handicapping it, at least that I know. So check my page out. All those will be free, wt.buzz/AT. I'll probably have something up on a daily basis for that all year long.
Beautiful stuff. Adam Trigger, everyone. We've still got lots of show left. Ross Benjamin coming up. Brandon from Tokyo, otherwise known as Tokyo Brandon. Teddy Covers, we have a quick question from Instagram from Matt Crenshaw. Is the Magic to win the series at plus 320 worth a sprinkle?
Good question. I wouldn't talk you out of it. I'll put it that way. It's not a bet that I'm making, but at that price, they got to win 2 games. You'll make a little bit more if you put your money on the money line in game 1 and then do it again for game 2, probably. So taking if you take Orlando even at the minus price and then rolling it over with a similar wager for game 2, but I wouldn't talk you out of it. I'll put it that way. I think I wouldn't be shocked if Orlando wins the series, but 3-1 dogs is probably the right price for them. The Cavs are the better of the 2 teams.
Teddy, it's so frustrating, my NHL, this first round of the playoffs. Every day I get on, I give out winners. Yesterday I went 2-1 in my penalty box segment. I went 0-2 for my clients. I'm seeing the NHL really well. I'm just releasing the wrong plays. And this happens. And I'm trying my best. I got a big play up tonight that I expect to win. Still up profit in NHL. On the year. We'll turn it around, but sorry to my clients who played my NHL last night. Frustrating night for sure. My friend, what did we learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
Before I talk about that, I do want to talk about the 50% off feature handicapper at Sportsmemo every day. Brand new promotion. There's a capper. You can get literally half off every day at Sportsmemo. Yesterday was Jesse Schul, who won his 11th straight 5%.
Yeah.
And of course, Ross Benjamin coming on next. He's going for his 6th straight 5% winner tonight over at sportsmemo.com. So take a look at that and take advantage of that 50% off feature handicapper top play at Sportsmemo. So You talked about it a moment ago, Prez. My free play yesterday was the Indiana Pacers, which was about as wrong a side as you'll ever have.
Yep.
I made the right call in terms of which game to leave as to throw out and which game to play for the clients, which was the Philadelphia 76ers. And I spent like all day on Monday debating side total. Prez talked about how hard we are on ourselves. And I beat the crap out of myself last night. I liked Philly. I liked the under. I cashed the under the night before in that Game 5 elimination game with the Nuggets-Lakers. But back and forth. I end up on side, not total. Nothing more than gut feel between the two. And all game, I'm thinking, Teddy, you're so stupid. Philly's a coin flip at best. The under was the right side here. You're an idiot. It's a 1-point game. There's 2 minutes left in the fourth. 87-86. Dead nuts under. The side is still no better than the coin flip. And the Sixers have this awful sequence. The Knicks hit a couple of shots. Philly turns it over. A couple of empty possessions. Missed it. 2 bunnies by the hoop that would have given them the lead. And next thing you know, Knicks are up 6. Philly's on life support. The under's still the right side. The side, Philly plus the points. I'm a big dog to cash now. Until Tyrese Maxey goes nuts. And yes, Tyrese Maxey gets a Christmas card from me this year. Hits the 3 and a foul. Hits the 3 from 35 out at the logo. 7 points in 18 seconds. And now it's overtime. I'll gladly take a push in that spot. Overtime, of course, is where unders go to die. And Brunson scored the first 5 points of OT. Philly scored the next 9. Knicks tied it. Didn't matter. Sixers had the mo, and they went on for the victory. So I beat myself up all night. And then I got really lucky at the end. You have to be at least a little lucky to be red hot. I'm red hot right now. 7-0 the last 7 in the NBA. 26-13 the last 39. 303 and 215, up 225 units of profit since 2022. I don't want to be lucky tonight. I'd rather be good, but I'll take lucky if I need it. We're involved in a single best bet winner in NBA playoff action this evening. Lawrence?
Yeah, congrats on your NBA start, man. It wasn't a week ago where I think you'd lost 3 in a row and were gutted, and I'm like, dude, it just begun. Relax. Then you ring off 7 straight NBA winners. Congratulations. Such a good thing I sold a bunch of my Bitcoin, Teddy, because we're down to 57,000. And I feel like I'm not living through the stress and hell right now. So phew. Ross Benjamin joining us. Ross, welcome, my friend. We love having you on.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. Teddy, I am not going to send Tyrese Maxey a Christmas card. Not because I had Boston. I had the under. And I never had a more disheartening 2-1 night in the NBA than I had last night. For one thing, it broke my 9-game winning streak that I had going in the NBA. And, for the other thing, the under looked like a lock, Teddy, like you said, coming down the stretch.
Right
what
side.
A fluke thing.
Wrong result.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and strange as this may seem, Ross, when was the last time you were on an over that was a stone cold under until you got overtime?
Yeah, we always think about that, and my theory on that is this. We always remember the ones that we lose, like I lost last night, but we don't recall the ones we win like that. And I'm a thorough believer that, the games you win decisively have to be much better than the games you lose decisively. And the ones like last night have to be split. And I'm a thorough believer that's the case. So I'm not going to, sit here and go, I never win games like that. So again, I think I'm answering your question to my fullest there.
Well, Ross, let's be honest here. We of course win games like that, but we don't win them as often as we lose them. I mean, I'm on the Nashville Predators 2 nights ago. They're up 3-1 with 3 minutes to go in the game. Yes, I know why. I'm about to tell you why.
It's the same reason as does you lose more bad beats in poker.
Right.
Same concept.
Because you're on the right side.
Yeah.
When you're on the right side, more often than not, luck tends to go against you. I always say to people when I play poker, I don't wish me good luck. I don't need any good luck. What I need is no bad luck. Ross, Heats
Yes, sir.
and Celtics. You like the over? Tell us why.
Well, we've seen a plethora of unders in the early stages, or lately anyway, in the NBA playoffs. And now they've adjusted to this line to 200. It was 204 in the last game. And, you look at the last two results, both unders. We saw a Miami team that was absolutely anemic offensively in game 3 and game 4 after that terrific shooting game in game 2. I think it's going to revert back to what we saw in the games in Boston, where we saw some really good three-point shooting from both teams. Boston shot less than 30% from the three-point line in games 3 and 4. I am going to go out on a limb and say that's not going to occur in game 5 at home. And you look at Boston's numbers in the first 2 games at home, they were 34 and 81 for 81, I should say, 42% from the three-point line in the first 2 games against Miami. Not only the great shooting percentage, but the volume of three-point shots, over 40 per game. And contrarily, you look at Miami, 35 out of 80. Of course, that's a little bit askew because they did make 23 in game 2, and they shot 43.8% from 3. Again, not so much the high shooting percentage, but the fact that both teams are attempted each 40 or more free throw or three-point attempts on average in the first 2 games of the series. Boston, by the way, 5-0 to the over at home this year when facing a team that scored 109 or less in their previous game, and when the total is 220 or less. 5-1 to the over in their last 6 off back-to-back unders, and 3-0 to the over in those situations if they were playing at home. And those 3 home games, a combined 239 plus scored in all 3. Boston's also 5-0 over since last year after back-to-back covers of when they're a favorite of 9.5 or greater, which they were in the last 2 games, and they covered the last 2 games. And Miami, who played a lot of overs going down the stretch, and now has gone 3-1 to the under in this series, but they're 5-1 to the over in their last 6 when the total's 216.5 or less, and they scored less than 100 in their previous games. So there's some in-season trends. I'm not a big trend guy when it comes to going back 2-3 years, but when you see some tendencies in teams and in-season trends like this, I take notice. But more so, I just think this has been adjusted too low, this total, and you're going to see some action on the under here just based on Boston didn't really tear it up offensively either in the last 2 games. I think they scored 104 and 106 or something like that too. So I'm going to go over 200 in this game, guys.
So Miami was held to below 85 each of the last 2 games.
Yep.
They won't have Jimmy Butler again. They won't have Jaime Jaquez today, a big loss for them. They still don't have Terry Rozier. You talked about these regular season numbers. That's not this Miami team. And Boston has shown us 3 times in 4 games. One game Miami got hot from 3, but Boston's been, pretty strong defensively. What makes you think tonight's going to be different for Miami in terms of scoring points in bunches? Because if the Heat aren't competitive in the fourth quarter, this fourth quarter is going to be as slow as molasses. It's going to be a 26-12 fourth quarter, and the game's going to die because Boston's going to run clock. So are you worried at all that Miami's key offensive players are basically all out, or most of them are out? They got Bam and Hero.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd be foolish and not in the position I am right now if I wasn't recognizing just what you said. And I don't mean that as no disrespect, Teddy. I also go back to game 2. Jimmy Butler wasn't there, and Rozier wasn't there as well. And they did hit 23 threes in that game, granted. But they, that game went over the total, I believe. And Miami's production, I believe they scored 111 that game. I just, here's the thing too, Teddy. One thing I noticed with Boston, even the other night, and is a very disturbing trend that I saw them down the stretch of the regular season when they weren't quite as dominant as they were for the majority of the year, is complacency sets in a little bit with this club. And now with a 3-1 lead, playing at home, as a double-digit favorite, there's a very good chance that we'll see Boston become complacent. And they've shown a tendency to do so. And I think this is one of those spots. And that's why I really would be shun away from laying this kind of number with the Celtics in this spot. And I think the complacency, when it sets in with Boston, it's more so on the defensive end of the floor than it is on the offensive end of the floor. So again, we'll see. But that is a great question you asked me, and great concerns. It's definitely a concern, but can't answer it better than that, Teddy.
Ross Benjamin, everyone. Guys, Ross is going for his 6th straight 5% winner tonight. His 6th straight 5% winner. You can get that over at Sportsmemo. What else is going on?
Hey, you know what? My NBA, not only going for my 6th straight winner in with a 5-star pick, my NBA playoffs at Sportsmemo over the last 3 years. 2022 number 1, 2023 number 1, 2024 right now. How about 16-5?
Wow.
18-5. NBA. I know Teddy's hot in the NBA, but buddy, I'm giving you a run. 11-1 with my last 12 in the NBA. How about 23-5 with my last 28 and 30-9 with my last 39 NBA picks going back to the regular season. So, you know what? Between the NBA postseason, how well I've done and dominated over the last 3 years, hitting 63% of my plays, making over 1,200 units. Based on $100 per unit bet, over $12,000 made. Things are going pretty well in the NBA, and I feel pretty good when I'm in the company of Mr. Covers when it comes to the NBA.
I'll put it this way, Ross. You said that I'm running good, or you're hot, and you give me a run for my money. I'm as hot as a firecracker, and you're hotter than I am right now.
Yeah,
check out Ross for half price over at
Yeah, there we
Sportsmemo.
go, everyone. 2 old men talking about how hot they are. Okay, let's move on. So, Ross, I have a question before we take this bet apart. You like Lewis Gill over 5.5 strikeouts against Baltimore. You'll tell us why. But I also am curious, and I'm not suggesting anything here, old man.
Oh boy, he acts like he's some spring chicken.
I'm old man too, Ross. No, dude, I'm old man too. When did you start with these K bets, these prop bets? It seems like a younger man's game. I don't do them. Teddy doesn't do them. Is this new to you or for you? Are you adapting?
I am adapting. I've gone to a lot of 5-inning picks too in Major League Baseball
as well.
Yeah, for obvious reasons, right, guys? I mean, it's a different game now. Everything's specialized when it comes to pitching. Guys very seldom go beyond 6 innings. Bullpens sometimes. We have to account for bullpens a lot more than we ever had to. So for those reasons, to the 5 innings. The strikeout prop is a very odd play for me. And I'll be quite honest. I'm not going to try to make up stories here. I have been locked in on the NBA. I've been treading very lightly in Major League Baseball. I'm a data-driven guy. But when I'm making a ton of money like I am in the NBA right now, I'm deciphering every nook and cranny I could. So looking at the Major League Baseball card, being a Yankees fan, and this has nothing to do with my bias, I have seen Luis Gil pitch on every occasion this year, all 5 starts. And what has struck me the most with him is he has electric stuff. He has a dynamic fastball. The problem with Luis Gil is he has control issues as well, which he has got better over the last 2 starts. But over the first 3 starts, he had 14 walks in 14 innings pitched. And when that happens, your innings pitched comes down because you're not going to last very long. A manager's not going to have the patience he normally has. Plus the fact your pitch count's going to be extremely high very early. But in his last 2 starts, he's gone 5 and 5 2/3 innings. And this guy's averaging 1.4 strikeouts per inning pitched this year. 36 strikeouts. Let me get the exact figure. 35 strikeouts in 24 and 2/3 innings pitched. And boy, oh boy, I mean, he's got electric stuff. I know Baltimore is one of the better teams in baseball when it comes to strikeout and at-bat ratio. They're somewhere in the area of 23%, which is in the top 5 in terms of least strikeouts per at-bat in Major League Baseball. But this kid's got great stuff. And I see is now he's starting to extend himself a little more because his control problems have seemed to subside a bit. Okay, not great. 5 walks and 10 and 2/3 in his last 2 starts. So, and he's struck out 6 or more guys in all 5 starts, even with his limited innings pitched in the first 3 outings. So I'm going to go Luis Gil here over 5.5. But you're right. I haven't fully turned a leaf and evolved in that regard, but it's what I saw as the best value on the Major League Baseball board today.
So you talked about the success that Gil has had striking out pitchers, and you talked about the fact that he's running high pitch counts. Why do you think this number is where it is, 5.5, as opposed to 6.5, being that every start this season he's had 6 or more strikeouts? Are the markets sleeping on this guy?
Yeah, I see. I don't know if they're sleeping on it. I mean, again, I always respect the odds makers, and if you don't, you're in trouble. Okay, I don't fear them, but I respect the number they put out. I don't claim to be one of these guys who say the odds maker's way off. You know, the bottom line is the reason I would see, and this is just my professional opinion, Teddy, and no more, is the 5.5 is based on the fact that he's averaging 4.9 innings pitched per start. And then you couple that with the other element that I just brought up, Baltimore striking out just 23% of the time in their at-bats this season, which is 5th lowest in the Major League Baseball. I think that has a lot to do with it in terms of keeping that number down. And he has struck out 6 or more in all 5 starts, but he hasn't had one of those 9 or 10 strikeout games. So combination of all that is the best I could assess your question.
Ross, that might have been one of the longest segments we've ever had. And I don't think it was your fault. I think it was a gift. So thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
Outstanding freaking work, man. Chat room is lit up. Somebody called you Ross the Boss. Not the most creative nickname in the world. But man, what a pleasure for Teddy and I. Kick ass tonight on your 5% play. I hope you get nothing but every bounce in your direction. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Prez. I appreciate both of you guys, and thank you for having me.
There we go. Ross Benjamin, everyone. Teddy covers. It's time for your big game breakdown. Before we get into that, guys, hit that like button. It takes 1 second. It's greatly appreciated. Subscribe to our channel if you may. That would be awesome. Okay, your big game breakdown. And then he paid $400 to come on. Tokyo Brandon. I don't have a choice. I like money.
Big game breakdown. Let's talk Heat and Celtics. Game 5 in Boston tonight. From an injury standpoint, Celtics won't have Porzingis. Well, they went 21-4 straight up without him this year. Joe Mazzulla is not too worried. Nothing changes, bringing the same mindset, intentionality, toughness, details to the next game, regardless of who's available. It doesn't matter. There's no difference between the regular season and the playoffs, and all year we've had guys step in and play, which is the right quote. Meanwhile, of course, Miami, without Jimmy Butler, without Terry Rozier, Jaime Jaquez ruled out as well. That's a huge loss for them. He's been so instrumental for the Heat's success this season. And all that being said, there's one thing we respect. There's 2 things that long-term I respect about Miami. Number 1, I respect how that roster is constructed. No team in the NBA has been able to withstand injuries better than Miami in recent seasons. And that's because the brain trust in Miami is really smart. And they figured out complementary players for their squad. The second thing that we've seen over the years and this year again for Miami is this is a character team. All right. They face adversity far better than most teams. You know, Bam Adebayo. We're going into the Lions Den. Everyone knows at stake. Tyler Hero, We'll just wrap our minds about getting one game in Boston and figuring out from there. I understand the Heat struggled offensively in both games in Miami. They may struggle offensively here. And I'm looking at this as a first half play, not a full game play. Heat don't cover the first half. I'm not convinced they're going to cover the second half. But Miami plus 8.5 first half makes a ton of sense to this better. I believe in the character of this team. I believe in the adjustments that they make. And Boston may well, even in a closeout game, may not have that killer mentality until after halftime. Heat, first half plus 8.5. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers. Let's keep this going. Tokyo Brandon live from Tokyo. Live as a Brandon.
Not Tokyo. I'm in Arizona right now, Prez.
Arizona Brandon joining us, everyone. Welcome to the show, Arizona Brandon.
Thanks. I'm visiting my mom, so I'm in my mom's office right now. So if you're going to talk about people being hot, you're going to have to give me 30 seconds to tell you how hot I am.
Oh, God.
You're going to give that to me,
guy
right?
Thinks he's hot. Well, that's
I know
the
I'm
theme
hot.
of the show.
I'm plus 171 units in 2024 overall. I'm plus 102 units in MLB. I'm number one in MLB profit the last year, the last 30 days, the last 7 days, and the last 3 days. So it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Okay, it's hot.
That is pretty hot.
You're the hottest man alive.
I'm not hotter than Ross Benjamin, but as far as looks are concerned. But
well, I mean, listen, Ross Benjamin's performing as Wayne Newton tonight, so don't worry. Don't worry. I mean, that's how hot Ross Benjamin is. Handicapper by day, Wayne Newton by night.
Chippendale by night.
Well, no, that's Teddy. Teddy. He does the before. So he gets the women all excited about what's about to come. Tokyo, let's keep going, brother. I love having you on the show, even though I tease you and your hat doesn't fit. Washington Nationals, first 5 money line bet. Tell us why.
So this is a good one because, I mean, I'm not – how does my hat not fit? I think it fits pretty good. Anyways, so everyone loves the Texas Rangers because, you know, defending champions – et cetera, et cetera. But if you break this down, I like to go a little more, I'm a little more recency bias when I do my stats. And if you look at how Washington has been playing recently, yes, they suck. But in the last 10 days, they're the number 11 batting team in MLB. And I have the Texas Rangers, the number 22 batting team in MLB in the last 10 days. Bullpens, I'm going to throw them out because I'm going to do a first 5 play on this one. But starting pitchers, Trevor Williams, his stats against the Rangers are pretty darn good. And no one knows a lot about Trevor Williams, but Andrew Haney, everybody knows him. He's sucked since he pitched for the Angels. Just because he's on a good team now doesn't mean he suddenly became a good pitcher. I have him ranked way below Trevor Williams. And the Washington Nationals are actually tearing the cover off the ball right now. So I like the Washington Nationals here in the first 5, and you can get anywhere from plus 125 to plus 135, depending on which book you're shopping at. So I really like the barking dog here in the Washington Nationals. I'm not going to bet the farm on it because a crappy team is a crappy team, and the Washington Nationals are a crappy team. But I think they have the advantage here, at least in the first 5 innings. It's enough to take a plus money flyer on.
So what do we do with teams like Washington's playing pretty good baseball right now? Oakland is playing pretty good baseball right now. Are these teams that are, you know, when you talk about teams that are expected to be bottom feeders, but they're not playing bottom feeder baseball? Yeah. Do you bet expecting the regression, or do you bet saying right now these teams are undervalued commodities?
Yeah. A zebra doesn't change its stripes. So if you suck, you suck. But recency bias is a good thing to bet on in baseball. As you know, Teddy, you bet baseball too, and you know streaks are extremely valuable. So you always bet on a streak. You never bet something is due to happen. You always bet the streak until it doesn't happen anymore. As professional bettors, you never bet, they're due to lose, so I'm going to bet against them when they're on a 6-game winning streak. You bet the streak until they lose. So, yeah, I would ride these teams while they're hot, but you know as well as I do, this is a 163-game season. even the crappers are going to shine once in a while. Even a turd's going to shine in the sun for a couple days. So I would ride the bad teams while they're hitting quite well. Actually, Washington is a good team to bet the team total on because the books really overlook them. Their lineup's not bad at all. Their bullpen is horrible. Their starting rotation, Fetty, a couple other guys are pitching a little better than they should be pitching. But Washington team total, I think, is one thing you can probably bet throughout the year. If you ever see Washington at 3.5, it's not a bad team total. If you check the other team's bullpen and they have a bad bullpen, it's not a bad bet. I think that'll last throughout the year. But like you said, as far as, the A's and the Washington Nationals being good teams, no, I don't think that's going to last throughout the year.
Tokyo Brandon, everyone. Good thing is I don't have to promote you. You did it yourself. You're so damn hot.
Because I had to listen to 30 minutes of you guys talking about how great you are. So I figured I'd say how great I am, just real quick.
Well, you are great. You're actually one of the
Thank
best
you.
we have. And
Prez, you paid me $400 to come on. I didn't pay anything.
Yeah. Nobody believes that, dude.
No, I know.
You did not pay anything. Guys, I want to vote in the comment section. What do you think of Tokyo Brandon's hat? I think it looks heavy, thick, doesn't fit well, not happy, but I'm all about
I got to
any
be
hat
honest with you guys. I'm not going to show you on camera, but I actually shaved my head. That's probably why my
No,
head
come on, let's see.
looks.
What do you mean you're not going to show us?
No, I'm not showing. I might show you a little tidbit here, but that's the side. But yeah, my head is completely shaved.
Wait. You
No,
did it out of choice?
No. I had a surgical procedure, so yeah, I'm covering my head. But yeah.
Okay, well that's fair enough. If you
one of the
didn't do it
reasons
by choice.
No, I did not. It's that's one of the reasons I came to Arizona. But nobody cares about that. I'm still capping and doing it. But I got some stitches in my head here, so I'm not gonna. That might gross the audience out a little bit. So yeah.
So I have.
I woke up to a pillow of blood. So yeah, it's not probably something you want to show the
fair enough.
audience.
I have 13 stitches all the way across my head.
Yeah.
So thank God.
And you had to shave your head then, right? Too.
Thank God I'm not bald. Okay, let's go.
Yeah,
Heaney.
yeah. I am right now.
You got to bet for us on Heaney. Fill us in.
I do. Same game, Washington Nationals, but I love taking advantage of these games where the books are in love with the team that they shouldn't be in love with. The Rangers are not what they were last year, and Heaney's sucked since he played for the Angels. I don't know why the books love him so much, but they do, and he's not exactly a strikeout guy. Case in point, he's pretty much average as far as strikeouts go, and he's striking out right now 8.6 batters per 9 innings, which is a little bit less than 1 strikeout per 9 innings. So Ross touched on the strikeout props, the way you approach them, and I like the way he broke that down. I go a little further. So I take how many strikeouts per 9 the pitcher is having so far, but I'll throw out his first start of the season because they get jerked early. But the Nationals as a team are striking out only 7.6 times per 9 innings, which is way below normal. So if you calculate it out, Heaney's strikeout prop today is 4.5, was it? So you have to figure to get to 5. Normally 9 per 9 would be 5. If he completes 5 innings, he should have 5 strikeouts. But his strikeout rate and the Nationals, and the Nationals strikeout rate, National strikeout far below the average. So 2 + 2 = 4. If he's going to strike out 5 guys, he'd have to complete 6 innings. And I don't think he's going to complete 6 innings here, because if you look at how these Washington batters bat against him, they're batting in 19 at bats. Yeah. They're batting .421 against him, and they have a 1.555 OPS against him. So I expect Heaney to get tagged, which is also why I'm betting the Nationals in the first 5 innings here. So I don't think he's going to get to 5 strikeouts. Again, this is not my 4% play. I have 2 4% plays out today. This is not one of them. I'm going to put if you went to my Twitter or my X you saw, now that I'm in America, I can actually bet my games at the casino. So I'm showing my tickets to people because I've been accused of not betting the games that I'm putting out. So I'm showing my tickets on my Twitter feed. But I'm probably going to put about $50 on this one.
Okay.
And the first 5 for Washington, but I'm probably going to put about $250 on my 4% plays. So I got 2 4% plays available at my page at WagerTalk. But yeah, that's my breakdown on why I think Heaney will not strike out 5 guys today.
There we go. So to
Why
summarize,
are you laughing, Teddy?
So to summarize, Tokyo Brandon woke up this morning in a pool of blood, and
Yes.
people get jerked early.
Not in Michael Jackson's bedroom, but I'm talking about in baseball.
Oh my God!
Starting
You are no longer allowed to ad lib. Okay, I want you to come on this show, give your thoughts and opinions, and leave. There will no longer be ad libbing from Tokyo Brandon. Okay, great. So
Thanks,
people
guys.
get jerked early, Teddy. Dan just wrote, let's wrap this show up so I can get jerked early. Okay, it's time for the penalty box segment.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, guys, it's time for your penalty box segment. There's 2 games tonight. I got bets on both of them. Before I get into that, I have a very rare 4% play in NHL up tonight. I'm going for my 11th 4% winner in a row. I've won 10 in a row already. We're going to win tonight, making it 11. So please take advantage of my hot streak in these 4% bets and get down on my 4% play. I also got 2 MLB plays and 1 NBA play. Okay, I'm going to make this super quick. I got to meet my dad for golf at 140. I like the under in the Dallas-Vegas Golden Knights game. Look, the bottom line here is tied 2-2. Nobody's won at home yet. I think we come back and we see an extremely tight hockey game tonight. Game 5 is absolutely crucial for teams that are tied 2-2. Dallas is a team that does go over at home, but the Vegas Golden Knights want to play to the under, and they want to play to the under every single game. I think we see a lot of icing, frankly, in this game. I think it'll be a boring hockey game. Take under. And the opposite for the Edmonton Oilers and LA Kings. I like over 6.5 here. I think we get a huge score tonight. We had a terribly low scoring game last game. Edmonton didn't show up, and Stuart Skinner stood on his head. I don't think Stuart Skinner's standing on his head 2 games in a row. It's absolute must win for LA or they're out. They're going to get some goals tonight. Edmonton can keep pace with everybody. So I like the over in that game too. That's it for today. Teddy Covers, take us home.
Well, that's going to wrap it for the Wednesday edition of Wager Talk Today. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and tomorrow's games, you guys know what to do. Best of luck with all your wagers.